My name is John, and I'm your one-stop shop for action movies, comic book movies, and the occasional horror movie reviews and rankings. And very soon, I'm shooting for Black Friday. I plan on ranking every live-action movie starring Vin Diesel. And the only franchise that he actually started and appears in every entry is the Riddick franchise. It's not necessarily my personal favorite of his. Obviously, Fast and the Furious wins in a landslide. And say what you want about the Triple X sequels, I still have a lot of nostalgia for that original Triple X movie. Riddick is still a very enjoyable franchise, and I'm not going to include Dark Fury, even though it might actually compete for the number one position. It's a nice animated adventure, but it's only a half hour long. If it was an hour long, I'd probably include it. And feel free to smash that thumbs up icon and comment your thoughts on the Riddick franchise. And let's get started. And coming in last place is 2013's Riddick. Now, when this movie is trying to be a follow-up on the Chronicles of Riddick, the previous movie, I really enjoy it. I love the beginning when they're going into all the Vaco stuff and how Riddick ended up where he is at the beginning of this movie. That being said, when you kind of get into that second half, and it kind of turns into Pitch Black 2.0 and a follow-up of Pitch Black, it kind of loses me. I don't like a lot of the mercenary characters that are in the movie. And I'm also not a big fan of returning to the Johns character. He was a fine character in Pitch Black, but kind of bringing his, I believe, father into this one, I just wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't think it was needed. And I kind of think a good way to fix this movie is instead of having John's father be the second mercenary group that comes in, just have it be like a Vaco with a group of mercenaries. And outside of the cute dog that runs around with Riddick in this movie, I don't think the alien creatures are as well done as Pitch Black's were. They're not as well creative in terms of their weaknesses and stuff, and even the design, they just look like giant scorpions. But one positive I would say is I think this is the best looking and slickest looking Riddick movie. Now, part of that could be due to the fact it came out like 10 years after the first two. And so coming in second place is the first movie, Pitch Black. Now, I think most people would probably put this at number one. Based purely off of the second half of the movie, I would easily put it at number one. But I have some strong issues with the look and design of that first half. Once the sun's set on this planet and alien creatures rise up, it becomes a blast, and I love the kind of alien type of sci-fi horror action that you kind of get in there. But that first half of the movie, the cinematography choices, the lighting, the color corrections, just the whole visual aesthetic and look of it, I just find very uncomfortable to look at. And so the reason this falls in the middle is because based off of the second half of the movie, it would easily, more than likely, be number one. But that first half of the movie, for me, would be easily in last place. I just don't like the look of it. And so they kind of just even itself out to fall right here in the middle. And by process of elimination, you've probably determined that first place goes to the Chronicles of Riddick. Now, this movie in particular takes a pretty bold choice, in my opinion. Whereas the first movie was just much more of a sci-fi, kind of Ridley Scott alien-like. This movie kind of goes the more space fantasy, Star Wars-esque direction with its genre. And the genre change isn't the reason this comes in first place. Sci-fi and fantasy are kind of in the same level in terms of my personal enjoyment of those genres. I just find this movie much more enjoyable. I love how they follow up Pitch Black with this one, and they do a good enough job explaining how these characters got in their situations, even if you didn't see the bridge animated short, Dark Fury. I like what they do with the Kira character, or Jack as she's known in Pitch Black. And I just find this movie the most enjoyable to watch out of all of them. Some of the action scenes you can lose some of the geography and landscape because of the way they're choppily edited. But I still find it pretty enjoyable. It's got some nice one-liners in there. And I like Vaco, the Carl Urban character. I don't know if I mentioned it, but one of my issues with Pitch Black is there's not much world building. It's just an alien adventure. Where this kind of has that world building involved in it. And these are the reasons why the Chronicles of Riddick comes in first place. And lastly, I'd just like to mention I don't necessarily think the best Riddick movie has yet to be made. I think David Twohy, the guy who directed all three of these movies, and he's even listed as the director of the fourth movie, which has been in development for a while. I don't know if it'll ever happen. But personally, I think David Twohy should let go of the franchise, give the reins to someone else. I think the Riddick franchise has a lot of potential in it, but I don't necessarily think a great Riddick movie has yet to be made. But if you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below as well as your rankings. And if you like this video, if you liked this ranking, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon and smash that subscribe button as well if you want a one-stop shop for action movies, comic book movies, and the occasional horror movie reviews and rankings. And I will return next time when I see you again.